everybody, it's Alyce-Kay Ruckelshaus from Threshold of Hineni and the Widow Ruckelshaus, and I want to work today on some paper. I'm not sure if we'll actually make it into anything today or not. We'll see how our timing is going, but I wanted to make some paper that would be the same for several different things in this journal. The cover is actually drying right now, so I don't have the cover on it. I just have the pages. But I'm not going to try to exactly match, but I want something that's going to be kind of close to the kind of reddish brown, maybe brick color in the sari silk. And so I chose this, since I had bricks on my mind, I chose the brick stencil, and I've torn out a page. Actually, that's not a good page because it's a chapter start, so it's got a lot of white to it. So let's tear out a couple pages here. Okay, let me show you too, like for tearing out book pages. So first of all, I don't care if it's got this torn edge. I like that a lot. So I'm not gonna like cut it or try to put a ruler in there or anything. But what I'm doing is I'm looking for the direction that this is going in. Okay, this is part of a signature, and so it's going out this direction. So I need to pull it from that direction. If I pull it from this direction, it's gonna tear more and be shorter than what I'm looking for. So it's actually easier for me to tear with my right hand. So I'm going to turn the book upside down. I flatten it as much as possible. And then you're going to, mainly what you're doing is you're pulling, and you're pulling slightly to the right and down. So like this. And see how I lift it up? I don't pull it out this way. I'm lifting it up and pulling it like this. And that way I get the page pretty much intact. So there's one, and let's get one more. So I'm going to flatten it out. I want to get it to be as flat as possible, and pulling it up and out. There we go. So now we've got two pages, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stamp on one side of each of these. So I'm going to look at these. I like the torn edge up here, so I want to keep that. So I'm going to have it go all the way up to the top. I may end up cutting off the bottom, but I'm not sure for these projects, so I'm going to go ahead and stamp the whole entire thing. So that's going to probably involve matching up. Yeah, we're going to have to match this up a little bit. Okay, so let's start out with just one of these pages. Okay, so what I decided is, since I'm going for this reddish brown, I'm going to have to mix some inks. I have these applier things. I'm not really sure what they're called, this tool. And it's got Velcro on it, and then you can buy as many pads as you want. And so I can use one of these handles with a bunch of different pads. And this one, I've used a little bit of red on it. I'm going to use it just for this mixture, because I'll probably use this mixture a lot. I love this sari silk. I've got a ton of it. And if you want some of it, I'll put it in my shop. I've got a ton of it, and so I will use it a lot. So I think that this is worth having a special pad just for this mixture of colors. So I've got some red ink. This is bright red ink. It's almost pinkish. You can see it right here. Okay, and I got this, I got it through Amazon. Yeah, I got it through Amazon. It was really inexpensive, and it seems to work pretty well. And then this one, I think I got this at Amazon too. I may have gotten it at Hobby Lobby. I'll look and see. If I got these at Amazon, I'll put the links for both of them. So this is a brown. So I'm going to do the brown coat first. And let me go ahead and open up the red so that I have it ready. I don't want to have to do a lot of stuff with my hands while I'm doing this, because I don't want to lose where I've lined this up, because I'm going to stamp it with two different colors. Okay, so I'm going to start out with the brown. I've got this lined up. Because of the design being what it is, I don't want it to be crooked, so I've got it lined up so that it's even along the bottom here. All right, and I've got it overflowing, going over the top of it. Okay, so I'm going to stamp it with brown first. I want to get plenty of ink on this stamp, and I'm going to stamp it around here. I'm not trying to make it all even, because like if you go and you look at bricks on a house or something, they're not evenly colored. You know, they change a little bit. There's variations in the hues, and it just gives it more texture if it's not all even. Okay, then before I move the stencil, I'm going to get red on this. I'm pressing it in. I'm going to press it in for about 5 seconds because I want to make sure I get plenty of ink. And I'm just going over it. And there are some little spaces that I probably didn't get with the brown, and that's okay. Those will have more of the red on them. Okay, and I think that's a little bit redder than I want, so I'm going to go over it with the brown again. Make sure I get the edge here. Yeah, this seems to be mixing the brown with the red a little bit more. I really don't want it to be pink. Okay, let's pull this off. That looks good. I like that. See how some places are darker than others? My house is brick, and you know, I've noticed that that's how it is. It's not all even. Okay, so we want to line this up. Look at how some of them have curved edges and some of them don't. So I'm going to try to line that up as best I can. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I want to get, there we go. I want to get this bottom section here. Okay, so I'm just going to do the same thing again. I'm going to use some brown, and then I'll use the red, and then some more brown. I'm not putting as much red ink on this time. And then brown. Okay. Oh, I love that. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, I really, really like that. Okay, so then I'm going to line this up. It's really nice because this is going to come off the edge, so it gives me a little bit more space to work with here. Okay, and I want to make sure that it's even with the bottom here. Some brown first. And wow, this isn't getting a lot of brown. I may be running out of ink. Okay, and then some red. So I'll show you guys how to put more ink on this too. Okay, let's go ahead and finish this page though. Okay, then I'm gonna go on down and do the same thing down here. See how I've got this little part of a square or part of a rectangle? So I'm lining it up with that. That's kind of giving me my guide. All right, do some brown, and then some red, and then some brown. Great. Ooh, I love that. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay, we're going to add some ink to this brown pad. And what I have is I have Vintage Photo, which is a little bit lighter than what's on that pad, but that's okay. I love Vintage Photo. So I'm going to put just a few dots. I'm going to put like one drop there, one in each corner, and maybe 2 or 3 in the center. Okay, let it soak in for a little bit. So while we set up the next page is probably just the right amount of time for it to soak in. Okay, so here's another page. See, this one here has a break between the paragraphs. I don't really want that. I want it to have as much writing as possible. So I'm going to do it this way, and I want the torn part at the top. Okay, so this time I'm going to try it just a little bit different. I'm going to try the red first. And I'm going to do the bricks again because I kind of want that to be one of the themes through this journal. Okay, so I'm lining it up. Look especially at the bottom to make sure that it's even across the bottom. I'm doing the red first, and I'm not doing it like super dark either. I'm hoping to get a little bit more brown on this one. I'm happy with the other one, but I want this one to be different. Okay, so now we've got all those. You can still see the little dots where the ink is. So let's kind of munch it around. See how I'm spreading it this way? Okay, this is going to be really dark on my stamper now. Yeah, look at that. Okay, so that's nice and mixed. And then as you use it more, it'll mix a little bit more and it'll soak in overnight. Oh, that's nice. I like that. Look at that. Okay, this time I'm going to match it across like this. And let's see here. There we go. That looks matched up. Make sure that it's even across the bottom again. And I'm going to do red first. Just a light coat of red, not real dark. And then brown. The other thing that I like to do, and right now I don't have my printer hooked up because I'm setting up a standing desk, which I'm really excited about. But anyway, I like to also run book pages through my printer and print a design on them, and that's kind of cool. You can look on Pixabay, or Pixel Scrapper is another one of my favorite places to go, and you can get all kinds of digital stuff that you can print on there. I've printed flowers on them. I've printed, yeah, just about everything. You name it, printed it on there. And it looks really pretty on the book pages. So I'll probably do some of that before we finish this project so you can see. Paper bags are another fun thing to print on. Okay, there we go. So on that very bottom row, I didn't use any of the red, but there was red on the tool. So we still got that. So see how this is like all different shades? It's really nice because it gives it some texture. It makes it look kind of like a brick wall. And we've still got the writing under there, okay, from the book page. So that's really cool. How are we doing on time? Oh yeah. Okay, so let's set this stuff aside and put my ink away. If I don't put it away, I won't be able to find it later. Okay, so what I was thinking I would do first of all is, get this ink off my hands. Okay, is I want to make some belly bands. I like belly bands in journals because you can slip a lot of stuff in under them, and you know, things that you want to be able to take in and out really easily. So let's make belly bands for this page. Okay, so remember how we keep track of where this page goes? We're going to turn this stuff that's inside sideways on it, set it aside. Okay, I've got this page out so that I can look at how big those belly bands need to be. And I still haven't decided whether I'm going to trim this off or leave it sticking out. I kind of like it sticking off like that. All right, so let's go ahead and, actually I think what would be easier is just measure this. So I've got measurements on this. This is 5.5 or 5 3/4 maybe. No, 4 3/4. Yeah, almost 4 3/4, just shy of that. So that's what we're going to cut here. And remember, I want to use this part up here, so I don't want to cut that part off. So let's cut this to be 4 3/4 inches long, just under that. Okay, so we're cutting that, and we'll save this. I mean, this will be, well, I'm going to stick this in the Frankenpaper stash. I think that'll be great for Frankenpaper. Okay, and then how wide do I want it to be? I'm probably going to add like lace to the side of it or something, so I don't want it to be too wide. Let's, you know what, I want to get this part that says Beauty for Ashes. So let's go ahead and we're going to cut right by that, so that we have the title at the top, the title of the book that these are from. And I can save this, I'll use that for something else. And then I want to go about the same. I want the Beauty for Ashes to be centered as much as possible. And then just go down like this. And I just, I had measured 4 3/4, right? And I just cut that off. Okay, so let's, we want to use the title. Oh, brother. Let's measure 4 3/4 this way. Guys, I blow it all the time while I'm working on stuff, even if I'm not on camera. So I hope that makes you feel better if you mess up a lot. I'm going to make it just a little bit less than 4 3/4. Okay, and sometimes it'll kind of scrunch, so then you kind of have to just lift this up and go right, put the blade down in the middle and then go. Okay, so there we go. So we've got one, and let's do another one. I'm going to make this one, you know what, let's make it from the part that doesn't have any writing on it. That way we've got this edge, this beautiful edge that I kind of wrecked by cutting it the way that I did. Okay, this will be a little bit wider, and we're going to cut it to 4 3/4 also. So, oops, let's put the flat edge up against the side. 4 3/4, just a little bit less. Okay, I'm going to put the blade down in the center and move it along. Okay, hope that wasn't off camera. Okay, so we've got our two book page pieces. They're a little bit different. This one has some of the type on it. This one doesn't have any type, but it's got this really cool edge. All right, so I think on this one here, I think I want to use some lace on the edge of it. Do I want the cream color or do I want white? Let's see what looks best. Ooh, I kind of think the white looks best. I'm surprised. I thought it would be the cream color. Okay, oh sorry, I bumped the camera. Okay, so I'm going to put some on each side. So I want to just go ahead and size it by this, and I'll cut it that way. And I got this lace. It's all cotton lace. I got it from Amazon. I'll put the link at the bottom in the description box in case you want some of it. It's become my favorite lace. I really love it. I like using polyester sometimes. And polyester is fun to coffee dye because it doesn't dye evenly, and so that's kind of fun. The cotton holds the dye easier, so just kind of depends on what you want. But this cotton lace came in a package with lots of different sizes and styles of lace. I think it's like 60 yards or something, and it has some that's this color and some that's more of a cream color. I'll show you here. So here's the white and here's the cream color. So there's a lot of lace in it, and it was not expensive at all. Okay, so that's going to be for that one. And then this one, kind of like that edge, but I don't know that it's going to show up very well. How does it? Oh yeah, it does show up. Look at that. That's really pretty. I'm going to have to cut off a little bit there, but that's fine. You know what? I'm thinking, let me try something here. I've got kind of an idea. What if we put some of this? Yeah, let's do this. Okay, I'll explain as I go. What I'm thinking is, instead of making this one a belly band, this one can be combined with some of this just plain old print paper, you know, with the book on it, and make it into a tuck instead. So let's do that. Let me cut some of this. So you just kind of come up with ideas as you're working. I'm going to put this at an angle so that hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I want to use this side that has more print, and I'm going to cut it like that. I'm putting the edge up against the top so that everything goes straight. I'm going to trim it this way, put this in my Franken paper stash, and then I want this edge. Does it matter? No, I don't want, yeah, the edge isn't going to matter because of what I'm hooking to it. So I'm going to just cut like about that much more. There we go. Save this edge for something else. And how big does it need to be? If I cut it down, oh, it's just perfect for, let's cut off the top above the title. And then let's cut off the bottom where the print ends. Okay. I love this tool. This is an awesome tool. This is the all-in-one. I think I've linked it on just about all of the videos for this series. Okay, so the lace is going to go with these two, and then this is going to go like this, and it will make a tuck in here. So I'll show you how we're going to do that in a minute. Okay, so let's get the sewing machine. And I'm going to use zigzag. That's what I usually use. You don't have to use zigzag, and you can use glue if you want. Glue will work just fine. It's just that I like to sew. So I sew. All right, and okay, so here's another thing about polyester versus cotton. I have found that the polyester will just lie flat there for me to sew it, and I don't have to hold it. Whereas the cotton is a little bit less cooperative. And sometimes I have to start several times to get it in the right place. Okay, but this time it's doing really well. So I don't tend to sew quite as fast when I'm using the cotton lace. And the smaller the piece, the more uncooperative it tends to be. Okay, so isn't that pretty with the lace against it? The white lace, that is really nice. I like that. And then always make sure that your lace is right side up. Okay. And we'll sew this one on here. This piece just happens to be lined flat better. Oh, no, see how it's coming off? Ugh. Yep, it does that. And I never have this happen with the polyester lace. So if you're a beginner, it might be better to start with polyester lace. I will also put a link for my favorite polyester lace in the description box. But if you're at all experienced with this, and I don't mean an experienced sewer, I mean experienced at sewing lace onto paper, which is a whole different thing, then I really like the cotton. Okay. Alright, so that's going to be our belly band, and I'll show you how we'll put it on in a few minutes. So then this, I want this to be a tuck. So I need to look at the page and see how big I want it to be. So we don't want it to cover the entire page, but we want it to cover a good portion of it. I'm having it tuck, I'm not having it tuck from the outside edge, I'm having it tuck from the inside edge. I'm not going to sew this part on here because that'll, you know, it'll be butted up against the side of the page, so it doesn't really need to be closed. Nothing's going to go through it. But I want to have this about here. So I'm going to sew this together first, and then I'll show you how we'll apply it to the page. Okay, so we're going to sew it on both sides. Paper is really, really easy to sew on, and if you're teaching your child to sew, having them sew on paper first is like such a good idea, because it's just a lot easier to sew. It doesn't slip, doesn't stretch, you know. So having them make some paper projects like this is a great way to start. Okay, so then to apply this, we're not going to worry about applying it here because that's going to run into the side of the inside of the book. So we're not worried about that. We just need to do the top and the bottom because we're going to use this as kind of a pocket. Okay, so I'm going to sew this to the top and the bottom. It's actually a little bit big for the page, so let's just cut it a little tiny bit here. There we go. And this goes into the Franken paper bin, right? You all should know that by now, right? Okay, so we're going to sew the top and then the bottom. And this is kind of special to me because I'm using my first book. Using pages from my first book that I rewrote, so I didn't want to sell those ones. I didn't have a lot of copies because it's print on demand, so you don't end up with, you know, 5,000 copies like you would otherwise with the old-fashioned printing. But I didn't want anybody buying the old way. I want them to have the new way. Okay, see, so that's our little tuck, and we can put something, we can slide all kinds of good stuff in there. Okay, and then we want to do over on the other side, let's go ahead and do our belly band, and that's just the right size. Okay, so we're gonna sew right here at the bottom, and we're gonna sew right here at the top. Okay. There we go. And I go a little ways over, and again, you can glue, you don't have to sew. I just like to sew. But see, I go a little ways past it. I don't just stay right on it. That keeps it from ripping off when somebody stuffs things in there quickly. They want to make it as sturdy as possible. I mean, junk journals are a little bit fragile, a little bit delicate, but we want to make them as sturdy as possible for ourselves, for later generations who might look at them. Okay, so isn't that cool? So we've got our belly band here, and we can slide something in there. Here, let me get a tag so you can see how that'll work, I think. There we go. Okay, so we can stick a tag in there like this. Okay, and then here we can slide something in like that. And these tags would be great because the ribbon that we put through the hole will hang out like that. That'd be super. Okay, so that's it for today. I love you all, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.